Question 7 is a parallel flaw method of reasoning, most similar flaw. So first we have to very keenly identify what the flaw committed in the argument actually is. And this one's very cookie cutter. You've seen it a bunch of times before. You're attacking the person making the argument, not the argument itself. Right, so let's take a look at Party X recently accused by opposition Party Y of accepting international campaign contributions, which is not legal. Right, so Party Y is saying, hey, look, X is accepting campaign contributions from Russia. That's not legal. And such accusations are, however, ill-founded. Okay, why? Right? Have you uncovered evidence that show that no, actually, no money was coming in from international sources? Nope, that's not what happened. Because 3 years ago, Party Y, see, like as soon as they start talking about Party Y, it just doesn't matter. 3 years ago, Party Y was beating up little children. Right, like eating kittens for lunch. None of that mattered. I know, yeah, the horrible things, yes, but like, well, the kitten for lunch is pretty funny, but like, it has no bearing on the accusation that Party X is accepting international campaign contributions from Russia. Like, where, in what world are those things relevant? Right, so they say, of course, 3 years ago, Party Y itself was involved in a scandal which it discovered that its national committee seriously violated campaign laws. Right, like, what is that supposed to make me think? Therefore, they're unable of accusing Party X of, right? Like, if anything, I was like, oh, well, great. Then they've already been there. They've already done that. Their hands are dirty, right? Kind of like takes one to know one. Maybe now I trust Party Y even more. Such accusations are ill-founded. What are you talking about? They're greatly founded because Party Y knows exactly what to do, right? Exactly what it looks like to violate campaign laws. So I believe them when they tell me. Right? Do you see, like, you give me the same, I can draw the totally opposite conclusion. I'm of course just exploiting the flaw in this argument, right? That's why it's a terrible argument, right? So now we need to parallel this argument. Find a party that attacks another party, and then you say, oh, your attack fails. Why? Because you are a bad person, right? You've done something illegal in the past or something like that. A says the plaintiff accuses defendant of violating campaign laws. Okay, great. So see, you got plaintiff accusing defendant of violating campaign laws, but the accusation is ill-founded. Fantastic. So far, so good, right? Now we just need the rest of this to attack the plaintiff. Say the plaintiff is a morally reprehensible human being or something like that. But so while the defendant's action may violate certain laws, okay, they're not immoral because laws. Wait, but you're not attacking the plaintiff, right? This is not the same. This is not the same argument structure, right? Your conclusion that these accusations are ill-founded has to rest upon the faulty support structure of a premise that attacks the plaintiff. Just like how our conclusion, right, such accusations are ill-founded, rests on the faulty support of a premise that attacked Party Y, people who brought up the accusation, right? Terrible argument. Yeah, I suppose I should have been a little more explicit in the stimulus about what the conclusion is, about what the premises are. B says the plaintiff accuses defendant of violating campaign laws. Oh, great. So another accusation from plaintiff Party Y to defendant Party X. But these accusations show the plaintiff to be hypocritical. What? That's not because the plaintiff engaged in. Well, yeah, this is the good argument. I mean, but I guess the question is, who cares if you're hypocritical? Like, if you want to conclude that, plaintiff also violated the same laws, therefore plaintiff's hypocritical, then fantastic, you got yourself a great argument. That's what it means to be hypocritical, right? But that doesn't match the argument structure here, right? You see, I think B is kind of clever because what B did with the premise is that B had the premise also mirror the premise over here, right? You're attacking the party, right, the plaintiff, that's making the accusation. Just like how this premise, our premise in the stimulus, is attacking the party that's making the accusation, right? But the conclusion failed to match. From this premise, you should have said, therefore, the plaintiff's accusations are ill-founded. Then it's the conclusion would have rested upon the faulty support of a premise that did nothing, right? Just like how it does here. But this conclusion is actually incredibly well supported by this premise because your conclusion is different. You're not concluding that the accusation is ill-founded. You're concluding, something about this plaintiff's character, which then, yeah, sure, if you give me evidence of his character, then sure, I can accept conclusions about his character, right? So B does not match. C says the plaintiff accused the defendant of violating campaign laws, and in the past, courts have declared such violations illegal. So, I mean, this is just like a really convoluted way of saying this thing is illegal, right? What does it mean to say that, in the past, court has declared this thing illegal? Well, that means it's illegal, right? Why didn't you just say, and that's illegal, right? Because they wanted to get us to think about, like, what? Why did you tell me this thing, right? So anyway, plaintiff accused defendant of violating campaign finance laws, which is illegal, right? Which is illegal. Very much quicker way of saying that. Nevertheless, because plaintiff recently engaged in actions that were similar to those of the defendant, ill-founded. See, the conclusion is the same. Conclusion matches, right? You're trying to say something about the accusation is ill-founded. Now, it has to rest upon the faulty support of a premise that attacks the character of the plaintiff or the character of Party Y, which is exactly what it does. right? Here they try to obscure it by saying that our plaintiff, the action, the character attack comes from recent actions, whereas here the character attack comes from past actions. Right? I guess like a long time ago, 3 years ago versus recently. But like, what does that matter, right? That's not a relevant distinction. The important similarity is that you're trying to use a premise that attacks a plaintiff's character, a party's character. You're trying to use that as a premise to support a conclusion about arguments, about accusations, right? About accusations. So that's where the similarity. That's where the similarity is. So C is the right answer choice. D says the plaintiff accused the defendant of violating campaign laws, but these accusations are ill-founded. So this is all great, right? Like this, the conclusion matches. For the premise, you just need to attack the plaintiff's character. Say something bad about the plaintiff, right? The plaintiff smells bad, right? But that's not what they say. Their attempt to stir up controversy made up 2 weeks ago. Okay, right? That's not what we need. Lastly, E says the plaintiff accused the defendant of voting only for campaign laws that would favor the defendant's party. This accusation is ill-founded. So again, this this is not exactly illegal, is it? Right? It might not be a good team playing strategy of, I don't know, we're all in this country together, right? Maybe sometimes it makes sense to cooperate, like as if we are all in this together. But like, it's not really illegal, is it? But okay, let's put that aside. The accusation is that it's ill-founded, so the conclusion does match. So now, again, you just need to attack the plaintiff's character, right? Because it attacks the defendant's motives, right? Now you're talking about the defendant's motives. Is that addressing arguments put forth? Come on, right? That's not